Guys, I haven't done Singlishes reviews in a while because I was a bit sick and I couldn't get my stuff from my local comic dealer. So I had time to read some of the paperbacks that I bought. So this will be a special about paperbacks or collected editions. It's like here. It's 5 stories in 4 books. I will explain this later. And I will kick it off with Wolf. Wolf is by Ales Kot Matt Taylor. I will show you a bit of the art. It's a noir detective story. Has quite a heavy horror or monsters vibe in it, and the story is not really easy to understand. It's told in a very non-conformist, non-linear way, but it's basically about different parties wanting different things, and our main protagonist, Detective Wolf, is caught in the middle of those intentions. There are some hints at his past. There are a lot of hints at different things. So yeah, as you can see, the drawings are really nice. I like Matt Taylor's work a lot, and I sometimes enjoy Ales Kot's writing too. But in this case, it's maybe a bit too clever for his own good, as it sometimes is with Ales Kot. Um, I feel that he doesn't let you know he doesn't allow the flow to just flow. He's always intervening, and he doesn't, not only that he doesn't want to hide, but he sometimes really shove it down your throat, his opinions or um, his intentions regarding the story or the characters. It's not genuine. It doesn't feel authentic in a way. And his will to like break rules and to make stuff different and to somehow show off his knowledge or just his opinions is sometimes bigger than his will to just tell a really good story. And also, his humor doesn't really click with me most of the times. So this would be a pass for me, but it's $10 for 160 pages. So you can also try it. It's not a big waste of money or anything. It's an enjoyable piece, but it's just a must read. So next up is this one here, Invisible Republic. Invisible Republic. I will also show you some of the art. Invisible Republic is by Gabriel, Hardman, and Corinna Bechko. Coloring by Jordan Boyd. You will instantly see that it's super well drawn and colored, but especially drawn. I think Hardman is a very capable artist, and I like this kind of style very much. It's very gritty, realistic, but still, rough enough that doesn't feel comic-y in a way. It's more realist, and yes, he worked as a story board artist for different films. For example, Inception. So you can tell that he has a good, his action flows really well, and it's very atmospheric, and I loved it. I love the whole comic. I think it's one of the best that I read in the past year or so, especially from Image. It's the best science fiction story I've read from Image in quite a while. What is it about? This is also interesting because it's not very sci-fi. It's not about technological advance. It's not about super crazy concepts. It's basically more of a alternate reality kind of thing. Yes, it is in the future. There are some spaceships or some surveillance going on, 1984 style and stuff like that. And everything happens on a distant planet called Avalon. So here you already have like a hint that it's about it's not exactly about the Excalibur saga, but it's about a very powerful figure coming into the place where he belongs, and I would say it's much closer to the portrait of the founding myth of a revolution. So there's this saying that the revolution eats its own or its young, and now with this volume we get very close to how a political movement develops and how it is founded, what kind of people are involved in this, and the characters are very complex, and they're either good or evil. They're just very human and very relatable. And I think it's really one of the best things that's out there. You can buy it in a monthly issue format. It's only $2.99, or you just grab the first paperback. The second one was announced recently, and highest recommendation for me. It's really, really great. You should give it a try. Next up is Warren Ellis, Injection. It's by Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey, coloring by Jordi Belair. You probably know this team. They used to work on Moon Knight over at Marvel. So it's Warren Ellis once more, who tries to unify the more mythical past with a technological future, and both of them meet in a time which is very close to our present, and the story is basically about 5 people who have invented something which they now can hardly control. So it's a motive very well known from science fiction, which is very much based, I think, on Goethe's Faust, or Prometheus. Those people who want advancement for humankind, but when it happens, they can handle it. You also know this motive from Frankenstein, probably, and it's kind of a Frankenstein story. And now that I think of it, but I don't want to spoil too much, because the fun with Injection is really to find out what's going on as the story progresses. The first 2 issues I had big problems. The third one still, I was already close to giving up. I'm very happy that I finished it, because it comes wonderfully together. After the 5th issue, you really have a grasp on what's going on and what the mission will be for the series, and it's a great one. I think this is Warren Ellis' best work in quite a time, quite the last years. I think I can't remember the last piece that I enjoyed as much as I did this one. It's far better than Threes, in my opinion, and it's also $10. You should definitely give it a try. Next up is another Warren Ellis book, including 2 stories. So 2 mysteries in space, you could say. One is Ocean, and the other one is Orbiter. This is hardcover edition by Vertigo, and I really like this format. It's a great format. I will unpack it because it's easier to hold. It's really nice. But it's not only about if the build is good, but if the stories are any good. And I will show you a little bit. It's a bit harder to show because it's hardcover. this is the first one. This is Ocean. It's drawn by Sprouse, who I really enjoy. The more I see of Sprouse, the more I like it. He's a big Hergé fan, you know, Tintin, and you can see that because his drawings are very clean and maybe even a bit bulky in a way, but I think he also does action quite well, and yeah, I just like it. It's just so enjoyable to read it, and it's so clear. You get what's going on in the panel really fast, and so it's fun to read. It's fun to look at it. The story is, if you have seen Prometheus by Ridley Scott, it's this kind of first contact story. It's a special kind of first contact story, which starts out really strong, but I have to say the ending is a bit disappointing, and not disappointing, but you expect much more, and I think there was like more going on that they were able to chew than regarding limitations of pages and of storytelling space. I think this could have gone on for much longer. So the pacing in the beginning is really nice, but then they have to really catch up later on, and it's still enjoyable. I think it's a very good story, and yeah, I would recommend it. If you like Warren Ellis, you know, this kind of tongue-in-cheek, a bit B-movie-like dialogue, which I highly enjoy, and his characters, then you will enjoy this very much. It's one of the Warren Ellis work that really is good. I say that because the second story, you know, this one, Orbiter, isn't. I didn't like it. Why didn't I like it? It's basically, I wouldn't say a rip-off, but a homage to a trope in science fiction storytelling. It reminded me very much of a Twilight Zone episode called The Arrival, where plane lands at an airport without any passengers or freight or you know, crew, and it's just empty, and you know, everyone wants to find out what happened. And this is basically the story of Orbiter. It's a space shuttle who's landing, and they went missing like 10 years ago, and now all of a sudden they reappear. Of the crew, there's only one member left, and the plane has also changed. They examined the plane and it's changed. I won't spoil it anymore. But this is basically what happens over 100 pages. There's not a lot of action going on, which wouldn't be a problem, but the characters are really flat, and I also didn't enjoy Colleen Doran's art. I think it's much better than what I know from her from earlier indie work, but I still didn't feel it, and I didn't think it was a good fit for a science fiction story. Yeah, it's a bit like it's a Twilight Zone episode told in a graphic novel, but it doesn't feel modern at all. If you want this kind of story, I would recommend to just watch Twilight Zone, and you can watch it on YouTube. It's called The Arrival. So I can't really recommend the whole book, only half of it, and it may be a bit too expensive for just one story. So in doubt, I would just go and buy the first one, Ocean, and Orbiter. I would definitely skip. It's one of the weakest, if not the weakest, Warren Ellis thing I have ever read. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will return with single issue reviews next week. Bye bye.